Oh, that's why. I forgot.
We're live, guys. Everybody, welcome to the Spurs 9501 latest Friday Night Fan Cam. I've got Eric in. I always forget whether it's Houston or Dallas. I'm sorry. Is it Houston?
Houston.
Yeah,
Yep.
Houston. And I've got Am, who's one of our younger supporters. He's come in to join everybody. Hello, Am. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm good. How are you?
Not too bad, not too bad. And we should be having another couple of our guys joining at the moment. They've been a bit delayed, but Cam can't make it today, unfortunately. I'm not sure if Adam's going to join, but we still wanted to have this Friday night fan cam with everybody just to make sure, we're talking about all the right things and you guys a voice so you can talk about everything. So let me start with you, Eric. What's been your thoughts so far about all the news about Conte? Oh, you're doing your hair. You look lovely, Eric. You look lovely.
Yeah. Thank you.
So
Thank you.
give us your thoughts about all the latest things that's been happening with Antonio Conte and everything like that. What do you think his first few days in charge?
Obviously, it's gonna take time. I mean, we've seen 3, 4 managers with this squad that's currently Pochettino, Mourinho, Ryan Mason, Nuno, and with what he's got, I mean, to me at this point, it's not even the manager. I mean, the manager can do the best he can do, but with
Yep.
this squad, it's obviously going to take time, and I just there's obviously a cap. There's a limit of what Antonio Conte can do, despite his greatness. I mean, he's a great manager, but with the squad he got, there's a limit of what he can do. The ceiling is right here, and we're like right here, and he's building them up, but our ceiling is not will not be our best compared to the other teams that we're competing for a top 4 finish this season.
But what do you think? We've got all international players. Most of them are away on international duty. So, what do you think you can do with this team, Eric?
Well, right now is good while the international's away. He's holding training sessions with the youth and with the squad that's not here. I mean, that's not way on
Yeah.
internationals, and so that's good right now. I'm hearing. I mean, I hear this every time, but I'm hearing the squad has been happy. They haven't felt this happy since the days of Pochettino, which is good. I don't know if that's true or not because I hear it so many times. But if it is true and if it's good atmosphere, then that's good. And I'm hearing that he's banning ketchup and mayonnaise to because nutrition and fitness takes it's a lot on the players, especially at the
Yeah.
top level.
No, I
And
understand that.
so that's good, making good changes, whether it's in the dining room or on the football field. So this is great, and so far the changes he's made so far has been good.
Okay, excellent. Let me come to you now, buddy. Welcome to the show. I know it's your first podcast, so very big welcome to you. Tell us a little bit about yourself. I mean, in terms of when you started Tottenham, supporting Tottenham, and who your favourite players, etc. Then we'll talk about Conte.
Well, yeah, I live in London, UK.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've been supporting Tottenham, I don't know, ever since I knew about football. One of my
Right.
favorite teams, my favorite player, Heung-min Son right now. Like,
Okay.
such a great player.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, excellent. Very good. So tell us, are you happy that Antonio Conte is the manager, and how do you think he's going to do, and what's the challenges for him with the Tottenham team at the moment?
I think you can see that what he's done in Inter Milan and Chelsea, that he's won multiple, trophies there, and we hope that he can bring that to Tottenham. He's been doing these fitness regimes. He apparently I saw a source that Ndombele has been at his most physical level that he's ever been at Tottenham. So I
That's
hope he
great
can,
news. Yeah.
yeah, I hope he can carry this on with other players and make us
Mm.
a stronger and better team.
Okay, I mean, and what do you think the players, like all the players are not going to take kindly to all these extra training sessions and all this? What do you think is going to happen to those players, the ones that don't fall into line with the Conti's methods?
Well,
What
you
do you,
either you either have to just change because Conte's trying to make Tottenham to a title-winning team, and if you're not going to cope and change yourself to that, then Conte might as well just sell them because they're not going to be used to Tottenham anymore.
yep, yep, yep. Eric, what's your thoughts on
Hey,
those? Sorry, Eric,
you
I was just going
gotta
to say.
you got to implement that mentality. I mean, and Conte has got to, excuse me, Antonio Conte has to come in, and his resume is proven. You just got to have that mentality. It's like, is it my way or the highway? That's what you got to do. And if these players don't want to buy into a manager that just literally won a league title last season, then you're gone. I mean, there should be no question. I mean, Levy shouldn't even say no to this man. because there's no questions, there's no doubts, to Antonio Conte. There are doubts leading into Mourinho, even though I love Mourinho, but you know, his man management style. When he came to Tottenham, he hasn't won a trophy in 2 years. When he came in 19, after not winning a trophy since 2017, but this guy's proven. He's proven everywhere. Proven in Italy, uh, obviously in England, which is crucial. And so it's my way or the highway if I'm Antonio Conte. And this should have been the mentality a long time ago, but this is what's going to happen. And yes, Conte is going to challenge the team, and that's what he needs to do.
Yeah, I mean, um, let's come to you now. Conte, I mean, Daniel Levy's done everything right so far. He's one of the best managers in the world. He was available. He appointed him. The next step is in January. He's got to support him, and give him the money. So, do you think Daniel Levy is actually going to give him the money to spend to really make us into maybe a top 4 team this year?
Well, one of the reasons why Conte wanted to come is that Fabio Paratici and Levy was, able to fulfill his wish of being able to spend money. But the fact that it's in the January window, there's not many transfers happening then because most teams want to keep a hold of their players for the whole season. So if we can try to scoop, you know, 1 or 2 players who will be key for our first team that could get us top 4,
Mm-hmm.
that would be good. And then we can make our main transfers in the summer window.
Yeah, that's a really good point, actually. I'll come back to you in a minute, Am. I'm just going to ask Eric about his favorite player. Well, his second favorite player. His favorite player is Steve Bergwijn. I know that. Your favorite player is Harry Kane. Is he
No.
going to actually stay or is he going to go? Do you think Conte's going to say, this guy's not cutting it now, I'm going to get rid of him and get Vlahovic in or something like that? What do you think his strategy is going to be with Harry Kane?
I think it's up to Harry Kane.
Yeah.
I mean, literally before we started the show, he just scored the first half hat trick for England. But
Right.
I think it's up to Harry Kane whether he wants to leave or go. I mean, we have contingent plans if he does want to leave, and
Mm.
obviously Dusan Vlahovic. But I think with Conte being at the helm, I feel like Kane would be tempted to stay. Because obviously Conte 2 weeks in is building a project here, which I'm already believing. I'm not trying to be reactionary, but I'm believing it. I see the players are believing it. Hopefully he can, but if he doesn't, then that's okay. I mean, he can leave and we can bring in someone that's young, that's up and coming. Harry Kane's 28 in his prime years. If he wants to leave, let's take the money and let's truly rebuild this team. Harry Kane, for us, if he leaves, can be our Coutinho for Liverpool. You know
Yeah.
how he
Yeah.
left Barcelona,
Yeah.
and I mean he left for Barcelona and brought in Van Dijk and all the big money replacements. Harry Kane can be that for us, and it'll prove beneficial for us in the long run.
Yeah, that's a great point. Now, I think the reason that Harry Kane wants to leave is because he doesn't think he can win anything with Tottenham. But with Conte there now, do you think that might change his mind and think, well, actually, this guy's a winner. I might as well stay and try and win with Tottenham?
Yeah, I saw some reports that Harry Kane has now, is now a bit more confident that he wants to stay at Tottenham because he believes in the Conte project. He believes that Conte will win Tottenham at least 1 or 2 trophies this season. So I think, the first start of the season, Harry Kane's been a bit, hasn't been able to score, hasn't been able to do any assists like he did last season. So if we sell, he won't sell as much as was speculated of him in the summer transfer window. So I think we should keep a hold of him, let Conte get the best out of him, and then if we really need to sell him, then sell him in summer. But we could see what he does for the rest of the season.
But
He's been
don't you
nearly.
think that
Sorry, go ahead, Eric.
don't you think like this new project? Because I feel like I'm thinking that in Kane's position. Conte, yes, he's proven, but with the squad we have, it's going to take a year or two to get this team back and running for trophies. And if you're Harry Kane and at the age of 28, with the new manager, do you bet on that year or two to wait until the squad is fully ready to compete, or you just leave and go to a competing team?
I
Yeah,
mean,
and
Because that's since Kane's been here, we've gone up and down in developing the squad to compete. And once we were at that highest level in the Champions League final, we lost that final, and we've gone downhill since then. Do you wait on another rebuild session? If I'm Kane, I probably don't. So that's what I'm saying. Let's take the money. But what you think, Al?
I think that he has to believe because he's seen what Conte has done Like when Conte joined Chelsea, they were 10th in the Premier League. The next season he won it, and the same is for Inter Milan. So if he's done this for 10th team Chelsea, he knows that he could do the same for 10th, 11th team Tottenham. Kane just has to trust the process, and then eventually we will get top four, and we might even win the Premier League next season if Conte gets the money and the transfers he needs.
Yep.
Yeah.
Simon Stevens, welcome, buddy. Thank you very much.
I got a question, Simon.
Yeah. I truly believe Conte could win every trophy. But I totally agree with you, Simon. He's a total winner, and I 100% agree with you. But the only doubt for me is he going to get the backing? If he gets the backing from Daniel Levy, I think this guy's got a proven formula. It works, and I agree with you. He could win, probably not the league this year, but we could win a cup, the Conference League, and maybe the League Cup, and then next year definitely go for the league. What do you think, Eric?
Yeah. I know last year we aimed for a League Cup and a Europa League. I think this year we should be aiming for the same with a Conference League and either or League Cup or FA Cup. When you like, and he put this in all caps, and I'm
I
worried
agree,
about
yeah.
that. I'm looking at our defense. I'm looking at our midfield. I'm like, I don't think maybe 2 or 3 signings can kind of change the scope of this team so far. Like in January, for a January transfer window. I'm worried about our defense. I'm worried about Eric Dyer still being back there, and I want to bring up a new point. The midfield pairing of Hobier and Skip. I've been hearing a lot of people criticize them, and I think it's okay for right now, for what we got right now. But the problem is, I think with Hobier and Skip is that I think their play styles are too alike, and therefore, like they don't really don't really going forward offensively, they don't really offer anything. So I feel like, Hobier and Skip is gonna have to be one of the pairing playing alongside. I'm praying to God, I'm on my knees praying we get Kessié this January. So I think in the midfield is gonna have to be a Kessié Hobier pairing, if we sign him, which I hope we will, or Skip. So I think that's the problem with a Hobier Skip midfield is that they're just too alike. And, I think with players like them too, you got to play one or the other and have a more attacking mindset when it comes to a midfielder.
Yep. And what do you think about Simon's comments that, and I'll put it up for you again quickly. He says, as Eric said quite rightly, in capital, he's put this team. So Simon says we've got enough in the locker with this team to win stuff as long as, he gets the backing that he needs to, supplement the squad. Do you think this team has got enough, or do you think we're lacking in certain areas?
I think he's kind of right, because Tottenham right now don't have that winning mentality, but we also have lack of, Premier League title winning players. Like Eric said, Van Kessie would be a good addition to the team, and like a new defender like Stefan de Vrij from Inter Milan, that would be good instead of Dyer, because Dyer has shown his faults over the years. And also the main thing is that Conte has to implement that winning mentality. We haven't had that since the Champions League final, and it's all gone downhill from there, and Conte needs to bring that back.
So do you think, let me just put another question to you. Do you think I wouldn't say substandard players, but not elite players like Dyer and Davis, do you think if they get the right mentality from a coach like Conte, they can actually up their game and, if you like, play better than they really should do? Do you think that's possible?
Yeah, I think, Dyer and Davies still have a little bit more to show from, what we've seen in the past few years, because, we've had managers like Nuno, Mourinho. They're all right, but they're not like as good as, how Conte has been in the last, 3-4 years.
Yeah.
And Conte can really, really get the best out of players. Like he got the best out of Diego Costa, Romelu Lukaku at Inter Milan. I think if he can, get the best out of, Dyer, Davies, the failing players in our team, it could really, boost our team and get us to top 4.
I got a question now.
Go ahead, Eric.
What do you think?
Well,
what do you think about so I've always thought about like if they're I just say Dyer to me is beyond his peak age, and I don't feel like there's anything you can change with him. But we've seen Gary Cahill was a good, central defender under Antonio Conte and Chelsea, and I'm just wondering, could Dyer be like a Gary Cahill where he's not good, he's not bad, he's just bang average, and could he do something with that? I still say no, but what do you think about that?
I feel like we can, if you can get the best of Dyer and Davies until the next transfer window and survive with them at least. I'm not saying they're good because I don't think they're
Yeah,
good personally myself, because we need to invest in another new centre back because Dyer and
yeah.
Davies haven't been performing.
I just
You
say
know,
this. I when I think about those two, I just think Dyer and Davies, like Rashid, like they do need to move on. To me, they're beyond
Yeah,
their development years. Like
yeah.
when you're like a 23, 24,
Yeah,
25 year old, I'll go even beyond that. You can develop a player, but when they're like in their 27s, like Dyer, or 28, I want to say, uh, I just and there's like a cap on them, and you can't go beyond that cap because they probably already reached that cap, and it's just being average, kind of like Dele Alli. He hasn't gone. Mourinho always talked about him when you reach the top, great players stay at the top. Good players go at the top and then they just go off and on, off and on. But I feel like they are past their development years and it's time to move on from them.
yeah. Rashid, thanks very much for joining the stream. Really appreciate that, buddy. No Diane Davies finished. They need to move on. On club, can't stay stagnant. Yeah, I totally agree with Rashid. I think we need to move these guys on. What do you think, Am? Do you think we need to get rid of Dyer and Davies and get some better people in?
probably as soon as possible
Yeah,
because they just haven't been performing. Like Davies, he haven't really seen him start in a Premier League game for like 1 or 2 seasons now because Reguilon has taken his place. And Dyer, I don't know why we're starting Dyer. We could start bare centre backs like Rodon and Davinson Sanchez. So we need to move them on as soon as possible.
well, that's an interesting point actually, because Simon again has made a really good point. He doctored the back line. He didn't tell them to do much different except to stop making silly mistakes. So if he can cut out Sanchez and Dyer's mistakes, they could potentially be good players, don't you think, Eric?
Yeah, but Dyer and Sanchez make silly mistakes.
You can't,
but
it's in their DNA. They talk about the
yeah,
Tottenham DNA. I think it's in their DNA, isn't it, to make mistakes?
yeah, man, I'll never forget. I think Dyer was on a good run for the point of last season, and then he made that stupid mistake against Chelsea when Chelsea came here
I
by
was just about to say to you, that was my Dyer moment when he made that ridiculous tackle on Timo Werner.
tackle Timo Werner on the ground.
On the floor.
That had me. I don't know, man. When I think of Dyer, when I think of Sanchez at this stage where they are right now, at their age, at their performance, I just don't think there's anything you can do much more to them. And yeah, Dyer can be solid, but like you said, he has his moments, and that's just not an elite defender. That's not even a great defender,
Yep.
So
Yep. It's a shame about Sanchez, isn't it, Am? Because he's strong, he's powerful. He's a pure athlete, but the football brain is not there. I mean, he's given away so many stupid penalties and free kicks. Can you actually, a player like that, can you change their psyche, or is it just with them and they can't change? What do you think?
I think it's just that player themselves, it's just their mentality. Like Sanchez has been so inconsistent over the past few years. Like he's had some good games, and then the next game he's been really awful and really bad. Like I think we should have to sell Sanchez as well. But if Conte can get the best out of him and try to make him consistent, try to make his game reading a little bit better, we could see some improvements from him and maybe start him in the first team again.
Yeah, the problem is, Eric, is we say, oh, get rid of Sanchez, get rid of Dyer, get rid of Davies, but who's going to buy? If they're so bad, who's going to buy them?
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
You can't just give them away. You got to get some money for
them. I know. When I think of, and no offense to them, but whenever I think of the idea of selling Davies, Dyer, I think of teams like Norwich, Watford, Burnley. Yeah. With all due respect.
Yeah, no, I think so. You're right. Yeah,
but I don't know. I mean, I don't see them going to a Champions League club for sure. I can for some reason I can picture Eric Dyer in a Atletico Madrid shirt for some reason, but I don't know. Maybe Diego Simeone can get something out of him. But I want to go back to that comment I just saw before I look at Hayan. Talking about he doctored the back line. I'll take Skriniar and De Vrij, and I forgot who the other one was over.
Wait, Hakimi, but he's gone to PSG now, isn't he? He was a right back or left.
He was a wing back, but I'm talking about just the back three they had.
Oh yeah, who was it? Do you know who that was? It was Hakimi.
Bastoni. Was it Bastoni?
I'm not sure.
It was the Bridge, Skriniar, probably one more else.
Yeah, we don't know that. I can't remember who that is.
Yeah,
Hey, Anne, thanks for
but I'll
joining the
take that
stream.
back line any day. Miles ahead.
Should we give players like Tanga, I think you mean, or Rodon a chance before buying someone new? What do you think, Am? Should we give them? I mean, how many chances do these guys need? Tanganga, I think we should stick with him because he's Tottenham through and through and he needs a chance. But Rodon, I'm not sure about him.
I
What do you
mean,
think, Am?
we can't really, decide on Rodon.
Maybe
Tanganga,
it's
we
a bit too
can.
early for Rodon and
Yeah,
Tanganga, actually. I think that maybe they deserve a chance. Do you think
they
so?
are.
Well, Rodon to me was a panic buy. I wouldn't say
Yeah.
panic buy. I mean, we wanted Skriniar and there was someone else in the run. Oh, Ruben Diaz, and that summer of 2020, and we didn't get either of them. So we
It
we
put Joe
went
Rodon.
beyond the deadline. We went
Yeah.
beyond the deadline to
Yeah.
before
Yeah,
the EFL deadline to get Rodon. And to me, he's just there because we needed depth at that center back position. I don't think he was when we was looking at Diaz and Skriniar, we was looking at to be a starter on the back line. But when we fell all the way down to Rodon, I just think he just became depth at that position. Just what we got with Dyer and Sanchez at the moment, or Alderweireld at that time being.
Yeah.
And
I'm going to
Tanganga,
join Jam. Welcome, mate.
How you guys doing? Sorry, I'm late.
Yeah,
Time change
no
messed
problem.
me up there.
No worries, no worries. We got Am, who's a new podcaster from London, joining us. So.
Hey, nice to meet you.
And nice to meet you too.
So we got some really good questions coming from Simon. Just look at this one here. Sanchez was a great ball playing centre back Ajax. He's one long list of players who are the cats walk the club, but playing pop. Yeah, I mean, this is a really good point, and this is one I've raised a long time. Jam, why don't you take that one? Players that are really good at other clubs become absolute, I'm not going to say the word, but rubbish when they come to Tottenham. Why is that?
I mean, there really is a really long list, right? You got Sanchez, but I mean, prior to all that, yeah, I mean, Soldado, Jansen,
yeah, exactly.
I mean, then we got our top players like Ndombele, who hasn't made the cut yet, Lo Celso. I mean, we could go on and on, but we've had other good players come by before that Sanchez era with the Jan Vertonghen's and all the Weirolds. So hopefully we're turning the corner now, is what I want to say with Conte. So our newest recruitments have seemed to hit the ground running. Royal, Romero, Gil. Hopefully, like I said, hopefully we've turned the corner now with Conte, especially shaping them up. And
I will say this about Sanchez.
Be positive. Go ahead.
I will say this about Sanchez. I feel like when Sanchez was doing good his first season, or actually his first 2 seasons with us when we were playing at Wembley, he was pretty decent. Alderweireld, when Alderweireld went out, he couldn't get a spot back into the team because Sanchez was doing good. And I think that was the last manager that really believed in Sanchez. That was Pochettino. And Mourinho kind of gave him a hard time and all that, and we as fans gave him a hard time. But I think it's kind of Sanchez is like off and on. I know I was just talking bad about him earlier, but I feel like what a manager that could believe in him. And I see Conte because he's very passionate. Conte is an easy guy where Conte is one of those guys where it's easy to buy into his system, his ways, his style, his man management. And I feel like Sanchez could fall in love with Conte and what he can do. And if Conte believes in Sanchez and Sanchez feels that from him, I feel like Sanchez can come back to where he was when he was at Ajax in his first 2 seasons with us.
Mm-hmm. And why do you think that we get some really good players and then they come to us and they just go downhill when they come to Tottenham? I mean, Ndombele was great. I mean, you remember 2 or 3 seasons ago, he actually run the show against Man City, home and away. What did we do to players that causes them to just go downhill when they come to Tottenham? What do you think it is?
Well, I don't think it's Tottenham themselves. Well, unless you're counting the bad managers such as Nuno and Mourinho wasn't that good after a couple of months. Unless you could say it's managers fault and their bad tactics. It's mainly I think their mentality. Like and Ndombele was like, I don't want to be offensive, but like was really like fat at one point and really unhealthy and couldn't start.
Yeah.
So I think it's mainly their mentality, not what's Tottenham doing to them. It's not the club's fault.
Okay, it's the mentality, yeah.
Yeah, and the players that come here, like where did they mainly come from? Like Lo Celso and Ndombele. I'm trying to think anyone else from that summer. Well, you got Sessegnon, but the players the previous. The last player we bought from the Premier League was Doherty and Hobier, and that was last year. But the players we're talking about where they come in and just woeful, they play from outside of England. And what I think about that, I mean, with Ndombele, there was like words on the scouting report. Yeah, he was talented with the ball, but he could be a bit lazy and didn't have the exact work rate ethic when it came to Musa Ndombele, which Ndombele was supposed to be Musa Dembele, which Ndombele is supposed to be his replacement.
Yep.
And so we saw worries on that of him playing at Liga, but when he came to the Champions League, obviously he turned up and all that stuff. But I feel like players from other leagues in Europe coming to England, it's a different game. England is all, strong. It's a different brand of football. And I feel like the weaknesses in these players when it came to these scouting reports really got exposed when they came to England. And so I do feel like we are buying a lack of Premier League ready players. I mean, they're good in their respective leagues where we buy them from. But when they come here, they get exposed. The weaknesses really get put at the forefront and get exposed. And going to Simon, his question, I talked about it last show. I'm worried about Hill because, I can see Hill's like that creative, winger that plays on the left. But in Conte's system, where he plays a 3-4-3, obviously Son has that left wing spot locked, no questions asked. And then there's been reports that, after the international break, we might switch to a 3-4-1-2. And his role in the team is still a question. So that I don't know. I'll like to ask everyone else.
Yeah, that's a good point, actually. Jam, what do you think? What's Brian Hill's role in the new formation with Conte? And then I'll come to Am for his thoughts on that.
Oh, that really depends if he can show Conte that he can defend as well as attack. Because obviously, I feel like he could slot onto either wing, and even sometimes come in and be a creative player. I don't think we've seen enough of him yet to really make that a decision whether he can do that or he can't do that. That's time will tell. But from what I've seen of him, I've enjoyed him. I think he's got good energy and he's aggressive with his play, and he's a really good dribbler. So he could definitely play on the wings. I don't see why not. I don't see why he couldn't be a backup to Son, because he seems like a similar type of player. When we bought Son, he wasn't a goal scorer per se. But I mean, he's evolved and become that, and why not playing under him? He could be that same type of player.
Do you think he's a Conte type of player, though?
We'll see. I'm not sure yet.
Yep. Okay.
He could absolutely be. I think he's got the work ethic to do it.
Okay. And what do you think about Brian Hill? Has he got a future with this new Conte era or not? And I know Rashid's got a question. We'll come to your question in a minute, Rashid. Really good question. But Am, what do you think? Is Brian Hill got a role in this team or not?
Yeah, well, Brian Gill's, 20 years old. He's young, like really, really young. So I think we should, still give him a chance. Like we don't understand his play style yet, and if we can, adapt into Conte's style. Like he could be up there on the left wing next to Kane and Lucas Moura on the right. So we just have to give him time, let him develop a little bit more. He could turn into the next Son when Son retires. So if we just give him some more time, let him develop, then fine.
Okay, so the jury's out on that one, I think. Rashid's saying, I disagree respectfully. Pochettino hid Sanchez's weaknesses with his formation. Remember, Jose exposed them in Europa League final. Yeah, that's true, actually, because Jose did target Sanchez in the Europa League final. Is that right, Eric? Did Pochettino and his brilliant management style actually protect Sanchez from actually being shown how bad he is?
Yeah, Pochettino hid a lot of players' weaknesses, and it was funny in the
and Dele Alli was one of them, I think.
Exactly. In All or Nothing, they had that moment when Mourinho was talking to Sanchez, and he was talking about like, I think he was talking to Ben Davies about that game, and he was like, when we played Ajax, excuse me for my language, but we made Sanchez shit the bed and stuff like that. And so Mourinho was clear in saying that. But Pochettino, I think that's what made Pochettino so great for us, because he made Ben Davies look like a decent left back under Danny Rose. He looked Kieran Trippier like a good right back, which he is now. It was clear. He made so many players brilliant, and I think when Mourinho came, his style was different, and he would like Pochettino put a blanket over his players, and work what he had and made sure he got the best out of them. When Jose came in, it was like, put everything on the line. Jose was like that type of a coach where, it's up to you as a player yourself. And I feel like he didn't cater to the players' style and traits that they had. So under Mourinho and Nuno, it kind of exposed a lot of the players, and I think that's why we want so many players gone. But Pochettino really worked wonders with his team.
Let's move on the conversation now. I mean, there was an article in the Daily Mail today about financial fair play, basically where you only can spend what you earn, etc. They did the calculation for all the Premier League teams, and the team that can spend the most money in January is which team? Any guesses?
Tottenham.
Spurs.
Tottenham.
There you go,
Yep.
Tottenham Hotspur. And does anybody know how much we're allowed to spend in January?
400 million.
400 million.
There you go. Everybody knows it. So, let me come to you. Do you think? Well, actually, let me come to Jam first on that. Jam, do you think that we're actually going to? I'm not going to spend 400 million, I know, but how much do you think we are actually going to spend? Because everybody keeps saying Conte would not have come to Tottenham without the guarantee of being able to spend in January. Because regardless of how good this squad is, it's not his squad.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely money that needs to be spent, but I think it's not just about spending money. It's about spending money on the right players. I'd rather have them spend or get one player for 60, 80 million than 3 or 4 players for that amount of money, which would just be pointless. We've been there before and wasted money on players who might have potential. I'm looking at Sessegnon, I'm looking at most of the players we've talked about already.
Yeah.
But what's most telling about that, with the second team below us is like Liverpool, and they can spend 230 million, which is basically half of what our calculated, money is. And I mean, that just shows how little Enoch have invested in our team in these last few years. And God, I'm hoping they've turned a corner. Conte is a big statement appointment, and I'm hoping this really means that they've now realized that if they want to be a big team that they've claimed to be for all these years, there's only one way to do it. If you look at all those teams in the list who can spend money, the 5 of them are the top 5 teams in England, well, not positionally wise, but the people you would say are the bigger clubs.
Yeah.
So I mean, put up or shut up essentially at this point with Levy.
Yeah. I mean, Levy's on a roll at the moment. He was lucky. He's a very lucky chairman. He's got Conte was actually available, because if Nuno gets fired, who's available? Conte was actually available. I can see Eric smiling there. So he's appointed Conte. He's done the right thing. There's no point, I think, appointing Conte if you don't back him in January. What do you think, Am?
I think I think if we did lose that match against Manchester United, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer would have been sacked and Conte would have been appointed, and we would have been stuck with Nuno. So I do think it was a very good decision, and I don't think it was Daniel Levy who actually did it. I think it was Fabio Paratici who's the one who changed Conte's mind and gave him the amount of money he was able to spend in the January transfer window. And I think that with 400 million that we're able to spend in the next transfer window, I think we need to use it wisely, but use as much of it as we can as soon as possible, so we can get good players and to build our team quickly and get top 4.
Yep. Okay. Eric, do you think he's actually going to go the next stage and back him? And what did your gut tell you about Daniel Levy? Is he changed, man? Is he actually changed? Has the leopard changed his spots? Is he actually going to spend some money now in January?
I hope so, and I think with this new data that's come out, I feel like he'll be pressured to back the manager now with 400 million. I'm just now reading the article. I never seen it.
That's slightly more than what you've got. Only just a little bit more than what you've got in your bank account, isn't it, Eric?
Yeah, I like.
Can you buy us, Eric?
But I think that if we're gonna like separate this 400 million, and hopefully Levy doesn't get greedy and want to use it, to put more into other Spurs stuff that's not the squad. With January coming up, I can see him putting maybe 175 to January and the rest in the summer, because we all know in the summer that's when the big money moves happen. But no, he I think after the Super League, sacking Mourinho a week before the final, or just going back to the second Pochettino after a couple months after the Champions League final, I think he is pressured, and I feel like the fans. He's pressured. I feel like he is pressured by us. I mean, hearing he built a £2 billion stadium, and 60,000 fans in that stadium booing Nuno, booing him, booing Enoch. I think that had to light a fire under him, and so I feel like he is pressuring. I feel like he will spend the money this time, and I can't believe I'm saying that. I mean, only time will tell. Time will tell.
Yeah.
And but if he is going to spend the money, he has the perfect manager under him to spend it for.
Exactly. He's got to listen to Paratici. I think you're right. The only reason Conte came was because of Paratici, I think. But Jam, what do we do with Harry Kane? I think I asked you this, but I'm intrigued by the answer here, because with Harry Kane sold, we could potentially have maybe, if he goes for like 75, 100, we could have maybe 200 million. Harry Kane doesn't sell. We've only got about 100 million. So what's Conte's strategy here?
I mean, I guess that's really gotta be determined on the training ground. Conte's only had a week and a half to actually see Kane play and see where his head's at. Looking from his recent comments and his performance today, I mean, I know it's Albania, but he's currently on a hat trick in the first half of that match.
Yeah.
So what is telling with that is that I think he's been prep all season for England and Tottenham. I've been saying this a few times, but clearly in today's performance, he's sweating. I know that it's raining out there, but he's sweating more than everyone else on the field, because he's moving, he's getting in positions where he should be, he's anticipating the ball dropping where it's going to drop. So really maybe his head's come around, and I would love to have Harry Kane on for another season. I don't think there's any Tottenham fan that doesn't want Harry Kane at his peak playing for Tottenham.
On Twitter, a lot of fans saying,
I'd be super upset to see Harry Kane at his top level playing for Manchester City or playing for Man United. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, his top level was last season. Has he reached that again this season, or is it just
not yet? But he still can. Even if he has a crap season, I mean, he's still 28. He could have another good 4 excellent Premier League seasons.
Yeah, a lot of fans saying on Twitter, oh, Kane's back, or what I've really been seeing, this is the Conte effect. This is the Conte effect. I would never say. Yeah, exactly. I would never say anything about the Conte effect or Kane's back until he's doing what he just did, especially scoring an acrobatic finish like that in a Spurs shirt. That's when I'll say maybe Kane's back. Or it's the Conte effect. I don't know where people get that.
I mean, just to put things in context for our fans here, that Albania is probably a Division 2 team, Division 1 team, really. It's nothing great. Yeah, exactly, yeah. I mean, do you think do you think Kane's going to stay in the January? I don't know if I've asked you this question, probably have asked you already, but do you think he's going to stay or not? Not what you want to happen. What do you think is going to happen?
Well, I've seen a lot of reports, and apparently Kane and his, agent and team have been thinking, a lot, very decisively about Conte, and I think that he will stay because he believes in Conte, because Conte has done miracles with other teams such as Chelsea and Inter Milan, and I think that this and Conte's appointment will keep him at the club.
And do you think Conte wants to keep him there? Do you think Conte's happy with him?
Yeah, apparently Conte said in that part of Tottenham's rebuild of the team was keeping Kane at the club in the summer transfer window. So I feel like he's in Conte's plans.
Okay. Eric, let me come to you now. Let's go fast forward to January. If I've given you like 2 or 3 players that must get in January, I know it's going to be difficult, but who's your 2 or 3 must pick for January, Eric?
Okay, so my most one, we can get him and only him, and we just forget about everybody else.
Who's that?
It would be Frank Kessié.
That'll be my number one. The one, is he? But don't forget, we've got Papa Sarr on loan. He's going to be coming. Isn't Papa Sarr and Kessie very similar players?
Almost, and I feel like 2 similar players like them 2 together would be great. Unlike a Skip and Hobier. But no, Frank Kessié is my number one go-to target in the summer. I mean, in January, and I'm gonna make Vlahovic my second contingent on Harry Kane stays or leaves. If he leaves, Vlahovic. If he stays, no Vlahovic.
Okay. Okay.
And third, if we can bring in a center back, perfect.
Yeah.
Preferably, and it's rare you see him now, and rare you see him that's not at a huge expensive price. Is a left-footed center back. Now, I would say this name. The last time we was linked with him was last summer, and he rejected us because, well, his team is in the Champions League, about to get knocked out, though, I think. and he just
The
saw no
suspense
hope
is
in our
killing me. You
team.
got to tell me who it is.
Paul Torres, left-footed center
Oh,
back,
Pau Torres. Oh. Are you
Spanish.
sure about that?
Yes. With Antonio Conte, yes. And I feel like, you know, a back three, let's say, or hypothetically a back four, a pairing with Paul Torres and Christian Romero, they're both Spanish speakers. I think that'll be perfect for the back line. You got Emerson on the right. You got his native countryman on the left, Sergio Regulon. I think that would be perfect.
Yep. Okay, Cam. Not Cam. I got you. Cam and Jan. Who do you reckon, Jan? Who's your sort of top 3 targets for January?
I want to say I want a striker more than anything, whether or not Kane stays or not, because I think we need 3 elite strikers. Apart from that, obviously we need a center, we need a creative player in the middle.
That's the biggest one for me. The creative
That's the
missing in the
biggest
middle.
one. We really are missing something, and I just don't know who to get. Because even with Kessie, you asked me about Kessie a few weeks ago. I didn't know enough about him. I've done some research since then. I think he's really, really good at carrying the ball forward. He's a big, strong guy. He's a lot like a mixture between Prime Sissoko and Ndombele. Not Ndombele, Dembele.
Dembele, yeah.
And yeah, he can dribble the ball, but he still hasn't got that eye for a vision, so eye for a pass, that creative pass, that sneaky pass that's gonna, just destroy the defense. And he's gonna be really good, but I don't think he's different enough from Højbjerg or Skip, where he can just protect and carry the ball. I like Kessie a lot. I would love to have him. I think he's ideal for Conte, and he's going to be free basically because you can sign him on a pre-contract in January, meaning he probably won't come until June. But no, I want a striker. It's been long enough that we were saying, how many years are we going to get a backup striker for Kane? Kane's is still undecided whether he's going to stay or not. Even if he turns a corner and next week he bangs in a hat trick, he'll probably start the week after that. But who knows if he's going to consistently be providing what we need. And he needs someone to push him. I'm sure part of the reason of him wanting to leave was like, I'm always going to be the starter here at Tottenham. I got no competition. I'm not trying. I don't need to try to get into the team anymore. I want somebody to make him realize that we can live with life without Kane.
Yep. And why don't you take Simon Stevens' question there? Or his comment. Just comment on his comment. Sorry. Yeah. Do you think he's gonna, stay?
Yeah, I do think he is gonna stay because I don't know why he would want to leave with a title-winning manager that has just been newly appointed a few days ago. I don't know why he would want to go to Man City, even though they are doing very well right now and have been successful in the last few years. I feel like he's been at this club for a long time, 8-9 years, and I feel like if he can give it one more season, one more go, and see what the outcome is, I think he'll stay.
Yeah. Okay. And Eric, do you agree with Simon there? Simon saying they messed around. City messed around. I don't know how City. I don't understand the rationale. Paying 100 million. You pay 100 million for Grealish, but you're not going to pay 150 million for Kane, who's much better, I think, than Grealish. But anyway,
If City wanted Kane so much, paying 100 million for Grealish was their worst mistake.
Exactly.
Because obviously, Kane's a better player, more valuable than Grealish, and yet you pay 100 million for Grealish. So that puts another question mark on Kane. Okay, how much is he worth now?
Yeah. But just to go on Simon's question, he said even if they match the value, he stays. Do you agree? So, if, for example, if Levy says I want 130 or whatever, and they say, oh yeah, we'll give you 130, do you think Levy turns that down or not?
Yeah, he turns that down in January.
Yeah.
Summer wise, he'd probably take it. But January in the middle of the season,
Haaland's going to be available. Other players might be available. It's take it or leave it. I think.
Yeah. I want to go back to Jan's point with the creative midfielder role. There's 2 options I see in a creative midfielder because for some reason, anything that we buy now has to be young, in my opinion. No. Anyway, I'm laughing at most blended. But my 2 options for a creative midfielder is obviously that guy for RB Leipzig, Dominic Szoboszlai. I know there's no chance in that happening, but one guy that we was linked to last summer, and I want to say the summer before that, is actually Christian Eriksen's countryman, Mikael Damsgaard.
Yep.
That
Yep.
he's a really nice guy. He's a good player. There's a lot of room for improvement. He's a good winger that he's been moved into the essential attacking midfield role a lot. Now his vision is a little, a question mark on, but that can always be improved with a talent like him. And I feel like that's something that we can buy. He's like 20, 21 years old. That's something that we could bring into the team and definitely can be better than Lo Celso in terms of creativity.
Yep.
And most blunted, I want to get you checked, man. Why would you ever ask a question like that? Holland, I love Holland, but Holland, Spurs. You know what? I give you
If
props
Haaland
for
come to
being.
Spurs, then he needs to go to the nearest doctor and get his
Yeah,
brains checked out.
exactly. I
I
love the I
understand-
love
I
the- I
I
love the
understand
mean,
hope.
even with the pull of Conte.
That's a
No.
good point, actually.
I mean, come on.
before,
I mean, you turn him into.
unless we're in Champions League, I can't see Haaland coming.
I don't
But
see it
wanna-
happening either.
I can't see it. I want to ask you a question. Everybody agrees that we're lacking in the creative midfielder, the Eriksen type of player. Which players do you think we should be going for? And don't talk about Frank Kessie. Give me some other potentials that we could look at in the creative midfield area.
Yeah, so new, bear midfielders similar to like Ericsson. There are some good midfielders like Nicola Barella, but he's had a new contract. There's like Zielinski from Napoli in Syria and Syria, and other creative midfielders from the Italian and Spanish league, such as Fekir, who might be running out of contract soon as well. So those are the type of creativity and high work rate players who could come
What
to
about
Tottenham.
Hassem Ouan from Lyon? Ouar, I think.
Yeah, I saw in the summer that he was, there was a link with him being, a swap deal with Ndombele and some cash
Yep.
for Hassan Aouar,
Yep.
which I think is, a bit absurd because, Ndombele is still pretty young, 24 years old. He still has, 1 or 2 more years to show his potential because, even though he's been a bit unfit, he's got Conte and Conte can bring the best out of Ndombele. So I don't think that Aouar, we don't really need him right now, but he'll be
Okay.
a good addition.
I'll tell you one thing that I haven't seen in so long, and someone made this comment in this one YouTube video I was reading. When Ericsson went away, the goals for Dele Alli went away as well.
Yep.
And I thought about it, and when I think of a creative midfielder, and one thing I haven't seen in so long is someone that can come short, and it could be a one-touch ball over the top. Like let's say Emerson. Let's say I'm a midfielder and I'm coming short, close to Emerson on that right-hand side. I pick up the ball, take a turn, and play a ball into the box. I haven't seen that in so long, and
I mean-
we missed that since Ericsson left.
Yeah,
So I
we'll
got-
come to Simon's question in a minute, but Jam, I was going to ask you. I know this guy, John Joe Shelby. I would never buy him in a million years, but you see the type of pass that John Joe Shelby can
That's the
do,
type
a
of player we
long range
need, though.
pass. That's the type
there's
of
a
thing
few
we need.
players. There's
Would
a
you
few
go for
players who I would
Perisic,
say.
as Simon said?
I don't think I think he's a little. I think I would have got Perisic maybe 2 seasons ago, But I think players that are currently probably not really players that we can get. Obviously, if I had one player I could pick, it would be Phil Foden. Maybe
Right,
De
definitely.
Bruyne. He's not coming to Tottenham. Let's be realistic. Another player who you guys are gonna hate me for saying this, but I don't see why not try and sign someone like Pogba. Pogba has the quality and the ability, is coming to an end of his contract. Him and the Conte could be alongside Ndombele. They're both French. They both are
Yep.
luxury players. But obviously this is what ifs. I don't think he's the player to solve our questions, to answer all our questions. But there are players out there. James Maddison, Trossard at Brighton. He's someone who's really impressed. Obviously, we're not going to get Mason Mount from Chelsea, but a player of his ability is what we need. There's Danny Olmo at Leipzig. He's more of a winger, but he's creative. He's in the Spanish starting team. He can play on that left side alongside Reguilon behind him. They're out there, but we're going to have to pay big money. Big money, big contracts. And that's what we need. We need a player of that level. Really, what I want to see is
Until we get a
hit
player,
Ndombele levels.
Yeah.
until we can
Eric?
get a player to like give us almost like an exact. I say I keep fantasizing about Ericsson being back with us.
You know what?
But until we have a player that can recreate that goal, I think this was, to me, in my opinion, Ericsson's best assist for Tottenham. is when he came up short, picked the ball up from Kieran Trippier, and played a lovely ball over the top in the FA Cup semifinal against Chelsea.
Yeah, it's a brilliant ball. Yeah,
that
absolutely.
was beautiful. And guess who was on the end of that? Dele Alli.
Yeah,
And until we can have a player that can recreate that assist or play that pass just in any moment, to help Kane out because I feel like against Everton, that game we needed just one spark, because in a game like that where the teams are just even, it's just that one inch of creativity that can really make the difference, and just put like a slick ball into the box, and Kane could be on the end of that.
Yeah,
and put a crazy one out there for you guys. What about Modric return? I mean, he's still got the class.
Well,
the
I would
ability
I'll
to
take
bring
him back
him on. Bring him on the 75th minute when we
great
need a
call.
goal.
That's a great shout.
It
I'll
really
bring
is.
him. I'll take him
he's
anytime.
Still a quality player. He
Modric,
doesn't have to play 90 minutes.
No,
you know.
Modric is like a quarter of his best. Is still better than 80% of midfielders out there. I'll definitely take Modric anytime. What I was good, everybody who's watching, please come back with your thoughts and your comments, because we really want to make this an interactive thing. But let me come to you. How are you going to measure how well, without not just a league position, but what's the key measurement to see that Conte is getting the way he wants to play a part? I guess it's winning games, but is there anything else that we should be looking at to say, right, Conte is getting his message and style of play across?
Well, it's mainly apart from the matches and winning, it's probably going to be from the training sessions, like how he's cut off the mayonnaise and ketchup, all these bad foods, trying to make these players like Ndombele, fat bulky players go and be like more of a lean body type, so that they can run faster, have high intensity in the whole 90 minutes of the game. That's the kind of stuff that Conte is driving into this team, that's going to make us a better team, that's going to challenge us for top 4. Like, this is the stuff we should be looking out for.
So fitness, so number of kilometers run and all that, those good indicators, aren't they? Because at the moment, Jan, we're right at the bottom, aren't we?
We're awful. I mean, I'm surprised that all those things were allowed. The sodas, the pizzas. It's like, what kind of football club is that?
Exactly. Yeah,
that's not what I want my professional athletes eating. I bet none of the Olympians eat that. Or I'm sure most of it's crazy that we have to see a report about ketchup being banned, because it's like, well, that should be at home food.
Yeah. And what do you think on Simon's point that he's asking a question? Was it a big mistake to sell Kieran Trippier? What do you think, Am?
I mean, the thing is that he's doing better right now in the La Liga than he did in the Premier League, but there's a big difference in the different leagues, because in the Spanish league you only see Real Madrid and Barcelona and some odd once a decade Atletico Madrid winning the league. It's not going to be as hard as Premier League each season, each team like Leicester, Chelsea, and Man City and Liverpool, each other team winning the Premier League. So I don't think we missed. It was a bad thing that we sold Trippier. I mean, Emerson Royale is young, has a lot of potential. He's been really good. Like in the game against Vitesse, he was really good, man of the match, I think. So I don't think we missed out. It was a bad thing that we sold Trippier.
Eric, what do you think about Trippier?
Selling Trippier at the time didn't look like a bad idea, because we as fans kind of written him off as deadwood. But then, of course, once we rid off a player once we get rid of a player that we thought was deadwood, it ends up turning to something that's not. While the deadwood is still here. I think last season there was like a report why I think how Mourinho was confused why did they sell Trippier, and especially how good he looked under Diego Simeone at Atletico Madrid, and really, he's talking about, I'm looking at potential top quality right backs, and there's not much in a good price range for us. Yeah, and that's true, but I feel like Trippier is a back four type of right back. I don't really see him as a wing back, and since Emerson has played in that wing back role, I feel like we have the key to unlocking his true potential here at Spurs. And so, I mean, now when I think of any players that we try to sign now, I think, where can they go in a 3-back system? I think Trippier, I couldn't see him playing as a wing back, but Emerson now is perfect because he can roam up and down that right hand side.
And I can see even Emerson playing as the right-sided back in a back three. I can see him. He's tall, strong, athletic. He could actually be the back three. We're going to wrap it up soon, guys. But just give me your final thoughts about
Just wanted to add one more
Antonio.
thing there about
Yeah.
Emerson.
Yeah, go ahead.
But he's like, he gives you confidence when defending. You know, I'm never really worried that he's going to trip someone up foolishly like Oria did all the time. So,
Yeah,
like you said, he could definitely fit back into this into right-sided centre back.
yeah.
I like him as a player.
Yep, that's good. So we've got a good run of games coming along. You know, Leeds, Burnley, Norwich, a few others. Are we looking at maximum points and getting us right up there back in the top four running, Eric?
Leeds is going to be a tough style because obviously a Marcelo Bielsa team, they're going to want to press us. And an Antonio Conte team, we're going to want to press them. So it's going to be a lot. I can imagine a lot of back and forth between us two. And I think a game like Leeds is going to come down to quality. Who has the best team? And Rafinha worries me on Leeds. And I feel like Rafinha is a player that could maybe play for us, you know,
That's a
him
decent
and Kevin Phillips. But I'm hoping if we're going to score predictions, maybe a 2-0 win.
Yep. I was more talking about the run of games. You think we got a really good run of games to build some momentum
Yeah.
now? And
Yeah. Leeds, and then you got the
you got Burnley away, and then you got Norwich, and you got Brentford, and teams like that. Yeah.
in between Leeds and Burnley on a Thursday, Thanksgiving Day. Well, for me.
Yeah. You got some turkey for us, yeah.
Yeah, but no, it is a good run of games. And I feel like that can help us gain momentum into that Liverpool game, hopefully.
Yep. And what do you think about run of games coming up? Do you think this is a chance to put some points on the board and really, worry United about that fourth spot?
Yeah, I think, we've got teams like Leeds, Burnley, Brentford, Norwich, Brighton, and then Leicester. These are games we should definitely get 3 points off for every single game. And I think that, we have players like Ndombele, Dele Alli, Lucas Moura, who aren't on international break right now. Conte's probably right now trying to get them into his system and getting them fit. So I feel like, we should, get 3 points for the next like 5-6 games in the Premier League.
But I wanted to ask you a question. I'll quickly come to Jam. How much time do you think Conte is going to give these players to prove whether they can work with? He wants to work with them or not? Are they going to get 1 game, 4 games, 5 games, 10 games? How much time is he going to give these guys before he said, "Yes, you're right for me," or "No, you're not right. You got to go"? How much time do you think he's going to give them?
I think at maximum like 3 games. I don't think if they're not performing in at least 1 or 2 games, then he already knows that there's no point because the next window is in January and that's only like 2 months from now. So he needs to make decisions quickly. He doesn't have that much time, so he needs to assess in players like Davies, Dyer, Tanganga, Rodon, give them chances 1-2 games or 1-2-3 games. If they don't do well, then he might look to sell them and try to get rid of them.
Training sessions tell a lot about a player as well because, a manager like Conte, he's not going to put up with mediocre. He's going to demand the best. And, every game, every session, even video training session, he's going to demand the best and your full focus and attention.
Well, why don't you answer that question and I'll come to Jam. How many games do each, like Dele Alli, these guys, how many games have they got to prove whether they get a tick in the box or a cross and then you're going? Eric?
Oh, I thought he was going to Jam. Oh, okay. Till January because we have a lot of games between now and the beginning of the transfer window, and they're good games. Brentford's way below us, but Brentford's a good team. Leicester's a very great team. Just because with Spurs, Norwich might pull a surprise on us. So. They're all good teams. And I think that's what's good about the Premier League. You can't look at a schedule. It's like, oh yeah, win, maybe
No,
draw,
you can't
win.
really.
You can't look at that.
No.
These are all good teams, and these are all good teams, and they're all good teams to tell if a player is good or not.
Yeah, Jam. How many games does Dele Alli have to prove to Conte whether he's good enough or not?
That's a good question because so my opinion is the next 3 games are absolutely have to win. If we don't win them, I mean. Looking longer term, I think, so not fire him, but longer term, I think top 4 is going to be very hard if we don't win the next 3 games. Absolutely, because they're Burnley, Brentford, Norwich. Have to win. Other than that, I can accept if we drop points against Leicester, even Brighton, even Liverpool, because they're all teams that are going to be a lot more difficult to face. Having said all that, I don't think any of these players that are really going to be fighting to stay at the club are going to get a start in any of those matches. Conte is going to pick the same team. I'm going to guess maybe 1 or 2 changes here and there. And I think those players are only really going to get the Europa Conference to prove themselves, to start to play a good 80, 90 minutes, to show that they want to be at the club and that they can compete somewhat at the level we need them to. And like you said, I think training sessions is a good point, because right now he has these weeks now. He's gonna know by the next match who here is mentally checked in, who here wants to be here, and if not, just get rid of them. Trust in the system that Conte is gonna do. And I wash my hands of any of these players. Conte decides their fate, and whatever he decides is gospel, in my opinion. If he says Son is not good enough and needs to go, I'll be like, oh, whatever you say, Conte. I trust you, man. I trust you.
Well, Simon's got a question there, Jam. Why don't you take that one?
Case of players being pushed out the door or running out the door come January. I think the ones that run, we want them out now. If they're not here and they don't want to play for Conte, if you're a top level player and you made it to the Premier League, you've worked your whole life to get here, why wouldn't you want to be playing under the best manager in the world?
Exactly.
Exactly. If you don't, we don't want you. You shouldn't be playing.
It's like you're running away from greatness.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. And you don't deserve to be earning the money you're earning playing for Tottenham Hotspurs.
I've listened to a lot of interviews with different people on the TV, on etc. YouTube. They all say the same thing. This guy is guaranteed to win you thing. Like, I don't know if it was somebody said, but Mourinho was the History Channel. This guy's the Discovery Channel. It's the difference. So this is a guy who's actually proven it and done it. So I honestly think if this guy can't win anything with Tottenham, they should close the club down and sell it off or something. Nothing can be done with it.
We'll rebrand, we'll become an NFL team or something.
Be an NFL team. But any final thoughts? Let's come to you. What's your thoughts? What's your hopes for the coming? I know you want us to win the games, which we know. But any other hopes? Would you like to see any other players stake a claim and actually show that they're good enough? Or what do you want coming through? I know you don't celebrate Christmas, but what's your Christmas wish list?
The next 3 games: Leeds, Burnley, Brentford. These are must-win games, and it's fine if this is. I see this as Conte's pre-season starter season, because he wasn't here in the summer transfer window like Nuno. He was able to put input in the summer transfers, but I think I'll be happy if we get top 6 at least, because Conte, I need him. I think to improve this team, we need to get rid of the deadwood that we didn't get rid of in the summer, such as Dyer, Davies, maybe Ali, unless Conte can get the best out of him. Then we just need to sign players and give Conte a bit more, a few months, so he can, improve the players and get their mentality straight.
Yeah. Eric, Conte is not so much for bringing youth through. So people like Tanganga and Skip and all that, if they're not up to speed, he's not going to play them because he's there for 18 months initially. So is that the right approach, or should he be looking to bring players through that's going to be here, for the future? What do you think?
If it fit his plans and fit his mentality, I'm not. I like when he was signed on an 18-month. I'm not so worried about it.
Yeah, and neither is both teams, isn't it?
Yeah, and neither is Conte. From what it sounds, he said, he's not really worried about it. I mean, he hopes to stay for longer than that, which we all hope he stays longer than that. But no, I'm not really worried about the 18-month contract. I mean, what he is here to do is to improve the squad and get it competing again. And it's obviously going to take longer than 18 months. So I think both parties realize that, and that was just like an offer on the table. But I feel like when it comes to youth, with this Spurs squad, and hopefully back and coming in January, he's going to need all he can find, all that he can get his hands onto, and the youth can play a role in that. I mean, we have good youth here. I mean, obviously he loves Skip so far. We haven't heard anything about Tanganga, but we're hoping he says something positive about Tanganga. And we're seeing and right now in training sessions for the past week, having youth mixed along with the first team squad, and that's good to see while the international is gone, because now he's also getting a look at the youth along with the first team squad and at that level. So yeah, that's good, and I feel like there's going to be a lot of positives coming out of training sessions.
Excellent, guys. Listen, thanks very much. Let's just say thank you to all the people that were viewing: Simon Stevens, Rashid Holder, Most Blunted, all the other Hayan Hassan, all the Navaid Hassan. Thank you very much for your questions. Really appreciate that. Let's come up for one final thing before you go. Let's get a prediction for Leeds. I'm going to start off. I'm going to go with 2-1 to Tottenham Hotspur. Let's go to Jam for your prediction for Leeds.
I'm hoping a Harry Kane hat trick, 3 assists from Ndombele, 3-0 Tottenham.
Okay, excellent. Am, your prediction for Leeds?
4-1 Tottenham.
Okay, excellent. And have you enjoyed yourself? It's really been good having you, and we hope you come on again. Have you enjoyed yourself?
Yeah, it was really fun. Hope to see you next week.
Okay, excellent. Eric, last but not least, let's give the final word to you, mate.
Said it earlier, accidentally, but I'm gonna say it again: 2-0 Tottenham.
Okay.
It's gonna be a tough game.
Okay, guys. Listen, thanks very much, Jam. Thanks for coming, mate. I know you're really busy. Appreciate that.
No
Thanks,
problem,
guys.
Good to see you all.
See you all. Take care. Bye-bye, everybody. We'll see you next week, definitely. Take care. Bye-bye. Bye.